in 2007, I decided that I want to start something related to farming on 11 January 2018, when we were like going down and trekking and bringing water and using it. And when I used to come to Dehradun and then open the tap and the water is coming, I would just look at the water for 5, 10 seconds. Like, oh my God.
They called it permaculture, but actually, like, it is basically just what everyone used to do. Pawan told me, oh, because I'm a civil engineer, or like, I love architecture. So he was like, I want you to build a hobbit house for me. From the animals just pooping all the time, like that was like I just cleaned this place, and now I have to clean it again, and then it's just, you get so stuck in these super tiny things. But it's not, that it's sometimes good to just say, okay, why am I actually doing this, like, why am I actually why am I putting all this effort? And
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tiny Farm Friends podcast. Our guests today are two dreamers and doers, a wonderful couple who I highly admire and respect for the paradise they have created on top of a mountain. Marloes and Pawan are the founders of Vanirah Farm, an organic permaculture farm that they have built from scratch on a Himalayan mountain top. So, thank you for joining us, Pawan and Marlies. I've been always curious to know about your story, your backgrounds, how you guys met, and why you chose such a life. So, let's start with your introductions.
okay, so my name is Marloes, and I am from the Netherlands. I came to India first when I was traveling in the Himalayas, and I fell in love with the with the mountains here, and actually with the architecture, the traditional architecture. And my master's was in civil engineering, and I still had to do my master thesis. So I um, I thought, okay, maybe I can do something related to the traditional architecture, and that worked out. So I did part of my thesis in IT Roorkee, and later on in the projects, a few years later, I met Pawan, and yeah, he started Vanirah Farm already, and I joined him. I
Wonderful.
started there and I never left.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
first she came as a volunteer.
Yeah, I came as a volunteer in the
Wow.
in the beginning. Yeah, it was always my dream to do something with farming, and yeah, I've always had a passion about mountains and hiking and
Yeah.
anything with nature. So
And then that's how Marloes and her professor came to our farm.
yeah,
And then later she wanted to volunteer.
yeah.
That was just a short
Interesting.
visit, and later she came as a volunteer.
Right.
And
Interesting.
yeah, and about me, I am Pawan, and then like I had a childhood dream of becoming a farmer, and then didn't knew how, and but somehow I was really wanting to do in the future, and then that's very funny that like when in 2007 I decided that I want to start something related to farming on 11 January 2018. It was just like a funny thing that I
Okay.
decided, and then but I went for it, and then I somehow was off for a bit. I did mechanical engineering, and then but that was, I think I did it because my family really wanted. But deep back, I wanted to somehow
Be a farmer.
be a farmer.
Yeah.
And then for the masters, I was really trying to do something related to agriculture. But then because since I didn't had my background in agriculture, I was not getting some kind of courses in that. So I tried to study something related to environment and sustainability, or green energy or something like that. That's how I got admitted in Germany to do my master's there, which was exactly related to management of resources and environment. That's how I went to Europe, and then I really like then I got to know about the volunteering things and all those things. Then through HelpX, which is very similar to Workaway,
Right.
I I volunteered in many countries in Europe. And then my main idea was like when I visited the first farm, which was also a very small scale organic farm. oh, this is the thing that I really wanted. This was my dream, and then I want to fulfill this thing. And then, oh yeah, 11 January 2018, definitely I'm starting it. So it was in 2015 or 2014 when I again like went back to this 2018 dream.
Then you were unstoppable.
Yeah, then I was unstoppable in a way that like I was along with my masters, I was like very less in Germany, but then more time visiting different farms, doing different things. I visited like farm doing organic farming, or working with kids, doing workshops, a horse farm, a small dairy, a small ecotourism type of farm, doing having vineyards and olive orchard and all those things. And then I did my some kind of internship in a permaculture community farm in Belgium, where I stayed a lot, where I learned things, and then from there I could travel and then just do different things, which I really wanted doing along with my master's. So it was a really great opportunity for me to see those things, and then like mostly when I used to see that like where the youth, especially in Europe, are going towards. Most of my friends, I was in contact with lots of people who really wanted to start a farm in Portugal or in Spain or something, and their whole dream and idea was towards sustainability. And there was a very deep realization for me that like, oh, this is exactly how my grandmom used to do, or how it used to happen in villages, or like what is the common life in maybe Himalayan mountain villages and other things. That's where the world wants to go towards.
Yeah,
So
like so
the
many people are inspired.
inspired
Actually,
by it.
they call it permaculture, but actually, like it is basically just what everyone used to do always,
Right.
because it's the only way that
Yeah,
you can really it can really truly work also
yeah,
to be totally organic and uh sustainable and um not degrading the land.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like my initial plan when I was young, maybe it was not really towards organic or permaculture, because for me that was a new thing. Like
Yeah.
normally
That
organic is
was
a
like
new thing for people.
innovative,
That is an
like
innovative thing. Like for me, it was like, oh, I want to innovate, go towards modern farming machineries and all this. And that was the dream initially. But then definitely that was the realization. Oh, this makes sense. And
Right.
then that's the only thing I know. And then to go back and do that thing would really make things better. And then, especially, there was a dream that, like, especially in the mountains, that life still exists. And if we can preserve that life in some place, then the whole world can come to see that thing.
mm,
So that was some kind of idea.
Right, wonderful. I think it's such a incredible thing to see that you imagine something and to manifest it. And especially, I think
Yeah,
maybe you did have a date in mind and you might have written it somewhere. And once you write it, I think it
yeah, yeah,
makes you easier to follow up on those things because so many
yeah,
people like today millennials dream of this lifestyle, like you said, in Portugal, Europe, even in India for that matter. They
mm,
want to go back to
yeah,
countryside, but it takes a lot of hard work, and we'll come to the challenges and what the reality is and
yeah,
what people
yes.
think.
yeah,
But I
Yeah.
want to know like what's the vision behind the name of the farm? Like why Vanirah Farm? What does it mean? And how did you find the land in the first place? So a little bit background about, like once you decided that you
yeah,
want to do this, and then how did you start your
yeah.
journey on for your own land?
Yeah, for me, like that 11 January 2018 was always in my mind. So for me, the thinking was like, oh, I should go back and then do some kind of field study in India and then experience more how it is in India before I can actually start something. So in 2016, October, I decided to come back and do some kind of fellowship program, which was State Bank of India fellowship program,
Right, right, right.
which I did in started in Maharashtra and then Karnataka and other things. And then my idea was, meanwhile, I will look for land, search for land, and then somehow buy a piece of land, and then I will be gaining some experience, and I would have land, and then I can start in that same date. So, but I didn't finish my fellowship program because at some point I realized that like it's not really something what I want, because there it was more. with a partner NGO, they really wanted to push you to do something which was really that I didn't want it. So, and then also it was getting difficult for me to actually finalize the land because I was in Maharashtra in B district. So I kind of decided to come to Dehradun and really actively look for land.
Yeah, because looking for a land
It's a
is a
big
job
job,
in
big
itself
job. Yeah,
already, kind
yeah,
of, you know.
yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so I
it
came
takes
here.
time.
Obviously, I wanted to do with a very limited budget, and then but I wanted a considerable piece of land, at least kind of 1 hectare, 1 acre to 1 hectare was my idea, and more land would be better. Definitely, I had lots of dreams to grow lots of fruit trees. That's my really a dream. So then, like, I just started searching for land and then going here and there alone and in a motorbike, just traveling everywhere and then looking for people. Then I somehow found one person and then he took me to some villages and other things. But then this piece, exactly where we are farming now, that was never in my imagination to start something over there. And
Okay.
then the funny story is like, I had never seen like that kind of apple orchard thing in India like before. And then someone told me that, oh, there is an apple orchard for sale in somewhere 4 kilometers of trek and other things. And but he said the demand is very high. And but for me, I was like, oh, maybe it's an opportunity to go for hiking and other thing. We'll pretend that we are interested, and then just enjoy eating apples over there and come back. So
I see.
that's how that's how I reached the land there.
Yeah.
And then it was so cloudy that I couldn't even see properly what is there. But I was so excited to see
You couldn't
apple
see any
orchard.
view or any
Yeah, there
nothing.
was nothing.
Yeah.
I was just in clouds.
Yes.
But I just ate apples and then I enjoyed. I
Yeah.
came back. So that's how I went to that land first for the first time. And then once I came back, the owner of the property, he was really after me. Oh, how do you think? Like, what do you want to buy it or something? But then I was really clear that like my parents won't allow me to be so much of the like city or of the community or village or something like that because it was really far. But somehow there was a like I was like in a way that like I thought like oh maybe I could have an orchard there and I can go in the summers and other things and I could have a land where I start farming close to the road. That was the initial idea, and somehow it was very
And
complicated
just
process.
have some people taking care of
Yeah, yeah, in
that
that way.
land or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
but somehow it was a very complicated process for me to get that piece of land because there was lots of people involved and then lots of paperwork and something's not going good, so I was stuck for a bit with that land because the owner didn't actually perform as he promised. But and I also got a small piece of land which was next to the road, so my idea was I will start there and then that will be a kind of a summer place or a
Yeah.
small orchard where we can go and enjoy and come back. And then the funny thing was like I started with some of the friends who came from Czech Republic as volunteers, and they were helping me, and we were working on the lower property which was next to the road, and they would just want to go hiking for 7 8 kilometers to reach to the top of the farm
Because
to sleep there
yeah, because
and come back next morning.
it turned out that while he had never seen the view over there, it had an amazing
Yeah.
panoramic view, like where we are living now. It is like really feeling like that you're on top of the world, like you can see
Yeah,
so
it's
far in all
beautiful.
directions. So you bought it not knowing about that
Yeah.
view and everything actually, and then it turned out that it was
Yeah.
like your friends were so much preferring that land of
Yeah, yeah. Then I was like, oh, I should be there because I also used to enjoy over there. But then somehow, my idea of being there, I was not able to accept it.
Mm,
But then when once she came and then she was also very convinced, then I said like, oh,
yeah,
this is the place where I really want to do.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that segues beautifully to my next question is that like how important is it to find a partner who shares your values and shares your dreams? Do you think it is the most important decision in your life to choose the right partner, especially when you have such dreams?
Yeah,
No, I
I
think
think
it's
so.
very
Yeah.
important.
Because I wouldn't be able to do it alone. Maybe Pawan would be able to do it alone. I don't know.
No, at that location, no.
No. Yeah.
For me, really, it was important to find some person who would be kind of
Yeah.
like I could never imagine some marrying an Indian girl and who will be staying there with me and doing things. So that was like back of mind. It's impossible for me. I am taking this, choosing this life, but it will be very difficult for me. But
Yeah.
somehow I found her, so I was lucky.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
think it's
but
quite a luck to find such a partner who can, like, who doesn't feel afraid, like both ways, to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
And how I know
Yeah.
through your videos that how beautifully you divide your work, and like your morning and evening chores will come to your schedules later
Yeah.
on. But what you
Yeah.
have created is so beautiful, so sacred. I don't know if you have seen the movie The Biggest Little Farm, but
yeah, we have seen
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
you
I've seen
Yeah.
have,
that. Yeah,
like, you guys
Yeah.
remind me of
Nice.
those people,
Yeah.
but like at a very high altitude with like 10x more difficulty. And I slowly see
Yeah.
how your animals are now slowly coming into the picture, like from dogs, horses,
Yeah.
cows, sheep,
Yeah.
hens, everything. It's coming all together. And I'd also love to talk about the big picture, but I want to know, like, how did the early days look like when you were at the top of the mountain, like when you decided, okay, you want to shift there? Because,
yeah,
making a decision on your whim and, hiking 2 hours daily, I'm sure it might have made you question your choice someday
yeah,
initially.
yeah, yeah.
How was that experience?
Yeah. Well, actually, before I was there, Pawan was already there alone, and you were staying there not all the time, but
Yeah.
you had experience where you were just really alone without any network in the snow,
Yeah,
no neighbors,
first
nothing.
experience for me was in like February of 2018, and yeah, 2018. So I went there, and my family were really not letting me, but somehow I convinced them that I'm going there and I will see how it is and how I will try to do, because I wanted to do really plantation of apples and other things, winter crops during that February. I didn't want to miss that season. So I somehow went there and I was totally alone. And so nearest neighbor would be like 200, 2.5 kilometers down.
Right.
So I went there, and at that time there was no water, no electricity there, nothing was there. And then I wasn't prepared, but somehow I decided I want to stay there for 7 days and 7 or 8 days and then plant the trees. So that was really challenging for me. Like I would just work whole day outside just to not feel so much bored, and then go to sleep at 7 o'clock.
It was also cold.
And it's also cold.
Yeah.
And then it started snowing, and I didn't knew how to manage that thing because it was the first experience and so much in the top of the mountain without network. My phone died, and I had somehow had the solar light only, and that was very challenging.
And then because you didn't stay there all the time in that
Yeah.
year, and then when I came, we stayed there more and more.
Yeah,
I
after
think,
she came, I was like more and more staying there
and
because
in the beginning, like because um we didn't have any water, just
yeah,
Pond had dug a small pond, so a little bit of rainwater that we harvested, we used that for doing dishes and just washing. In the early days, it really looked like this. We didn't shower for like 2 weeks or something like that. We were like, it was so basic
yeah,
living. I almost cannot imagine it anymore myself, because our lives have already upgraded so much, that
Right.
if I look back at that, I think, wow,
yeah.
that was die hard, like we I learned how to cook on the fire chula, like just the traditional way. And yeah, you already knew how to cook, so we both did the cooking, and then we had to go for firewood. We had to carry water, like 20 liters of water each on our backs,
Like we had to still trek every day or
for drinking water.
every 2 days to get the drinking water in our bag, at least 2.5 hours.
Water from that source was also really small at times, so it took forever for your Bisleri can to fill. And then, yeah,
Yeah, but that was a fun time because
it's nice
we
also.
used to take our take a shower there, wash everything there. Drink.
Yeah, yeah, it took a lot of time.
Yeah, it took a lot of time. Yeah,
Now we have a washing machine
no, no, for with the water.
with water.
Yeah, that must feel like the biggest luxury in life, I suppose.
Yeah, the washing machine feels like a really big luxury. It's still like a simple washing machine. Like we don't have a very yeah, we don't have that capacity. Is not very high of our solar system, but it's already like, because I like a lot of manual labor work. Like I love taking care of the animals and a lot of stuff, but laundry is not really my thing. So that I felt that okay,
Yes.
get that thing, that thing is really nice that it's a machine.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so I was asking, why did you guys choose to build an Earthbag dome in the first place? And you've documented your journey quite beautifully and elaborately on YouTube. So how was your learning process? And also, I'm sure there might be few things that you would want to do it differently now once you have built the
Yeah,
full
Yes.
dome. So what
definitely a
are
lot of
those
things.
things?
Yeah.
I think we were just we wanted to actually, I think really in the beginning, Paul told me, oh, because I'm a civil engineer, or like I love architecture, so he was like, I want you to build a hobbit house for me. That was what he
Okay.
wanted. And we
Yeah.
both really loved this, like, yeah, this urban architecture, like the more organic shapes of everything, like not really like
Square.
square or and I looked into it, but okay, a hobbit house is very difficult for technical reasons and waterproofing because it's underground. And yeah, then we found out about a dome, earthbag dome, and we felt that um, we chose the earthbag technique because you have more flexibility in, you can use a more range of different soil, like,
Right.
and
Our soil is very less sandy, almost no sand. So it's silty
I
and
see.
clayey.
yeah,
So in that way, if we had to build in any other way, we had to transport a lot of sand to mix with it.
For sure,
yeah,
for
So
sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. So we thought we wanted to give the earthbag technique a try, and then we really loved just these. We got to know about a dome, and then we felt that, oh, that's cool. Then you can have like uh also an earthen roof, and a roof structure is also always a challenge. Like, how do you make a roof? Um, Getting wood is also a challenge. Like anything is a challenge basically for us. But yeah,
yeah,
so we thought, okay, an earthbag dome with a green roof. That was the
initial
actual
idea.
initial idea. I think maybe we were a bit too optimistic to start with a dome, because a dome has its challenges because it's quite a heavy roof. So in any case, if something goes wrong, it's quite a lot of weight that will just can fall down on you, So I mean, our house is really fine, but in the end, it I think looking back, it costed us quite a lot of
Yeah,
stress or something,
the journey
because
was quite stressful. Yeah,
yeah, the journey was stressful because there was just still also so much to learn, and maybe we could have better started with something a little more easy, and then go to a dome. And but also looking back, I still actually don't know if we ever will be making a dome in the same way, because the green roof idea that we had for the top of the dome,
yeah,
it needs to use liners and stuff to protect it from water, which on top you will put your grass. And since we have so many rats and mice in our area, that was just not really a safe way, because one thing is, when you build with earth, as you also must know, is that you have to really protect it from water. So we felt that that would be,
that could be really risky.
yeah, that could be risky, especially because our roof is also of earth, and you really do not want anything to go wrong over there. So we got some help from friends who are more expert in it, and they also told us that maybe you shouldn't have done a dome the first house that you built.
Yeah, maybe the
Okay.
10th house should be
Yeah.
a dome house. You built it with started with first house as a dome house. So
Yeah, but then as a solution, we did a ferro cement covering on top of the dome, with tiling of this traditional patal, like slate
yeah,
thing. So it's still, I think it looks really nice in the end how we did it. But and the amount of concrete that you use or cement is
Very
actually very less, because it's just like this layer on top of it,
3
but
to 4 centimeter, I think, 3 centimeter.
it was kind of really technical because obviously you still want to have it really waterproof.
Yeah.
And it was not our initial
Initially,
idea.
initially, if we had an idea that we had to use some cement in it, we
Yeah.
wouldn't have gone for that.
Yeah.
The idea was not to use any. But then still, but seeing the dome structure, we are really happy that we
Yeah,
built
now
it. Because we feel so happy to stay in dome.
it's just if I think about any future building, and I would actually want it to be the dome again, not because of the process or anything, because that was kind of complicated maybe in the end, but just because of how it feels inside. It's like it feels so cozy, and you feel so, it's, I don't know how to describe it, but
And especially
it's beautiful.
our dome is a little bit underground, like,
Yeah.
so in that way it feels really nice. And the funny thing was that, like, to construct the basic structure, I really enjoyed it because it was going so fast and then so nice, and then you can see the results so fast.
Yeah.
But the finishing of it was so difficult because our soil also was a little bit different than how we expected. And earlier we were thinking that it is more clayey,
Yeah.
but later out after testing, we found that it's really a lot of silty, and that way it became a little bit challenging. And once it was drying, then it was really the plaster was like really
Cracking.
coming off in that way to crack that how exactly we can handle that soil.
Yeah.
It took us a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah, but we
Interesting.
figured it out in the end.
Yeah, we figured it out,
Yeah.
and we are really happy that we built it.
Yeah, I think
Initially,
how
we
it looks is quite beautiful, and I think house is
It's
something
not
like an ongoing journey, right? You keep
yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's not totally finished also still, actually. Like we still have to paint, like do some line painting from the outside, so we have still some kind of very ugly netting hanging for a temporary protection that is already hanging there since like
1 or 2 years.
1 or 2 years, which we have just not gotten to that.
We are not like, oh, it's comfortable for staying, that's enough. We will like make comfortable for animals, and we are going in different projects. So finishing will come
Yeah.
at some point of time.
Yeah, but we can live in it like properly now, so
Yeah.
that's at least it
yeah,
works.
it looks beautiful in the videos, and I'd love to like of course visit in
Thanks.
person. And I think it is the sound choice to build a dome, even if you had to like go through so many trials and error, because it is indeed quite difficult to carry heavy logs up to the
Yeah.
mountain forest.
Yeah.
And for like
Yeah.
dome is that it is a self-supporting roof, so that way I think you guys
Yeah.
did make a
Yeah, it
sound
totally makes
decision.
sense.
Yeah.
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 I think it's come out fantastic, and like I'd love to see and also like have a cup of lavender rosemary tea, what which you have like there. I've seen your lavenders drying inside the dome. They look beautiful. How does an ideal day or like a typical day look like for both of you when you're at the farm?
Yeah, so
She's the early person.
I'm an early bird. Yeah, I'm not an evening person at all, actually. So I get up early. I try like 5:30 or something like that. So I have a little bit of time for myself before I start with the milking, more like the animal morning chores. So I do the animal chores and milk the cows and clean up the shed and everything. And then I bring back the milk. Generally, Pawan was doing then the dishes. And then when I got back, because the morning chores take like 2 hours or something to finish everything, it's quite a bit of work. And then I start boiling the milk, preparing for the bread. Lately, in the last months, I've started to make sourdough bread
Wow.
because I feel like that
Easier than chapati.
it's easier than making rotis. Yeah. I don't know. It seems like more difficult, but for me, it is easier to manage. Yeah. So, and I like it's a fun process to make the bread.
I normally start the work by 8:30 with the people who are there.
Yeah.
Like after having a breakfast.
Yeah,
So
because until in the last years we have almost always worked with people at the farm. We're always like, not always, we have also many days that we are just with two of us, but
Yeah.
generally like there
Yeah.
would be
Right.
people.
Some people. So I would already start the work, and then Marloes would be making breakfast for herself, and then doing lots of processing work,
Yeah.
and then I'm disturbing her a lot to come and
Yeah.
just kind of,
Are you
oh, this,
ready?
are you ready? Or, oh, this is the situation. Now tell me. And then she is pissed off because it's not planned earlier. Uh,
I see.
and yeah, and for me, she is the mostly the person who checks the quality of the work.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
yeah, and
Yeah.
sometimes I'm confused, so I have to call her, and then we somehow try to solve the problems because every time there's something unexpected coming.
Yeah.
But in a way that I enjoy working like whole time with the people, and
Yeah.
then during the lunch we have like dal and rice, that kind of thing, and little break,
Yeah.
and then
In the afternoon, we start again, and in the meantime, there's a lot of work also in just we get dry leaves from the forest for the animals.
she's taking care of that.
Yeah, he or you ask someone to get like the ban. I don't know how do you say that in
Yeah,
English, like the leaves from the oak
Himalayan oak trees.
trees that we feed to the animals also. Or you have to cut the grass for the horse in some seasons. Now we have dry grass for the animals. We got a lot of huge storage, so you can now actually that work is less. But in the summer months for the nighttime, the horse needs also some grass. Um, so that is there. Just there are a lot of
Yeah.
small works in between, like what Pawan is more focusing on is the projects and getting that started, and in between there are all these small other works that we're also doing.
In the evening, I stop at around 5 because I do the milking in the evening and then giving grasses and everything to the animals and making sure that everything is okay.
Yeah,
And she is mostly
I
lighting
start
and preparing for dinner.
I start lighting the fire and preparing the dinner and everything, so we can have dinner a little early and then be really free in the evening to just chill. And
Yeah. So we try to
yeah,
eat
we
dinner
are
before
really
7.
at the farm. It's very different here in Dehradun and at the farm, that the fact that in the farm at 8 o'clock you just feel tired, you just feel like, or 8, 9 o'clock, it's like your body, your whole being is like, okay, it's kind of, and I'm also not an evening person, so maybe it's more for me. But in here in Dehradun, I sometimes I'm just working on something like the website or whatever I'm working on, and I'm at 11 o'clock, I'm still going, like it is not, you don't get so tired because of
Yeah.
the
And in the farm after 7, she's like, oh, I'm done.
yeah, I'm
Done
done
for the
now. Yeah,
day.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I guess tired bodies sleep well, and also
Yeah,
yeah.
we really
environment.
We
enjoy.
always sleep well.
We
Yeah,
always sleep well. And we really enjoy the time when we are going to bed. Really
yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think environment plays a huge role. Like in cities, everybody
yeah,
is also around you. Maybe you're still getting Amazon
yeah,
deliveries at 10. You have to do podcast
yeah,
at 8. So that is also thing that keeps you up.
yeah,
So yeah, I can
yeah,
understand that aspect. So you also mentioned a
yeah.
horse in between. So I see
Yeah.
that you have wonderful friends who wanted to gift you a horse. So how have your
Yeah.
friends
Yeah,
and family reacted to this whole setup? And I'm sure they might have visited you there. So what is their
yeah.
thinking about the life you have chosen?
Actually, like
Yeah. Her family
I think
is really
they
supportive.
are
Biggest
the
cheerleader.
biggest cheerleaders. I think
Wow.
both of my parents, like I don't know.
Her family, not mine.
Yeah, I'm from a family who we always were like really much in nature, and my parents, we were always hiking and uh, like, so that kind of, and my mom was actually saying to me, like when she came the first time, because they try to come almost every year, and she was saying like, wow, if I could do things again, I would just do exactly what you're doing. Like, so in
Wow,
that
that's so
way, I think
beautiful.
it's really supportive. I'm really grateful. Yeah, what was it again? Yeah, when we got married, a friend was just jokingly saying like I was on a video call, and then she was like, and what do you guys want as a gift or something, and Paul was saying a horse.
I thought like I will make it impossible to say that. Say something impossible. So
Yeah,
I
say
want something like
say
that.
something impossible. Yeah. And then she took it very seriously. She contacted all my parents and family, and somehow they gathered the money, and then they sent that money for arranging a horse. So yeah,
Get a horse as a wedding gift.
we got a horse as a wedding gift. Yeah, that's like
Wow.
so cool, right?
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
wonderful. Like, I want all my friends listening to the podcast that we might
Yeah.
also need two more horses for our farm, so that would be quite cool. So just putting it
Yeah.
out there. So,
Yeah.
what are some of the life lessons that you might have learned across this beautiful journey?
Definitely, like we are able to appreciate the value of water, electricity, and everything a lot more. In the initial days, when we were like going down and trekking and bringing water and using it, and when I used to come to Dehradun and then open the tap and the water is coming, I would just look at the water for 5, 10 seconds. Like, oh my God, that was such a dream for us to get a running water in a farm.
Yeah. Now we have water from the tap also in the farm.
Yeah, so
Wow.
those small achievements were so big for us.
Just very great, yeah, very grateful for all the little things, I think. And you notice it also when you're then not in the farm. That
Yeah, yeah.
I notice it, for example, every time I have to throw a piece of paper away, it's like, oh, I could use that to start the fire, Like
Yeah.
it
Mm,
feels strange to just throw it here or something, like not to try
Collect it.
to use everything in a way that somehow, yeah.
And that we had a dream of that integrated farm, and due to many reasons, we were not able to connect all the dots. Now I think we are
Yeah.
there where we are connecting each and
Everything
every
is slowly
dots
is
and
coming together.
slowly coming together because we somehow were working in many different projects. So it was taking too much time. And now when we see that each and every project is somehow coming to existence and then somehow functioning, we really feel great about it
Mm.
all the
So
time.
patience, I think, is
Yeah.
also a big learning. And for me personally, like uh I think a bit of learning to let go of control, like of feeling that you can control everything. Because in my life from my childhood, life is, and maybe more even in the Netherlands than in India, but life is so organized, it's so structured, it's so safe actually, because everything has been designed by the government or by your surrounding or whatever in a way that it just works. And uh I think yeah, for me, I think what I was really facing is that kind of feeling that I always want to have everything in control.
The biggest thing was like earlier, I was so much stuck up with the idea that like, I want to make a farm sustainable. So if I'm not able to earn from the farm, then I felt like I'm a failure or something like that. But then I thought like, no, like I should take it easy and then I should do something maybe outside so that I can sustain the farm for some time and that stage will come. And if I'm so much stressed about it, then there is no point of having this life. The first, most
yeah,
important priority is like to live a slow life, to enjoy the process and everything.
right.
In that way, that was a very big learning for me, but that's also a very big challenge still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
then we
can
are getting
totally
there. Like
resonate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we
Everything
have a
is slowly coming together.
Yes, I can
Yeah.
totally resonate with what Pawan is saying. I think we go through the same
Yeah.
doubts and same questions, and things take more than like you imagine, more time,
mm,
more resources. So I think now, because you're talking about the big picture, and I remember
Mm.
Marlon talking it about in one of her videos, that when such doubts come up, you like to make a picture every year, like the map, the big picture, to zoom out and see how things are. So what is that big picture for
Yeah.
you?
So yeah, it's funny. I really I don't do it on purpose, but every time I gravitate automatically to feeling like I want to draw it again. I want to yeah, zoom out. I think when you get so stuck in, sometimes you get so frustrating, like from the animals just pooping all the time, like that was like I just cleaned this place, and now I have to clean it again, and then it's just, you get so stuck in these super tiny things. But it's not, it's, that it's sometimes good to just say, okay, why am I actually doing this, like why am I actually uh why am I putting all this effort? And when you see the bigger picture of that, the farm is just one whole integrated um system and everything falls into place, I get my motivation back really quickly when I do that, because I just, oh yeah, it's so important that the cows are pooping. Because we need this to make the and you know that, but
This realization, yeah.
sometimes you can just get too stuck, and at least I have that, and then it's good to just zoom out. And the bigger picture for us is, yeah, just to live a self-sufficient life close to nature, and share things, whatever we know, with people, and let other people also experience this way of life. And by also integrating a bit of tourism, because we do also want to have generate some income, preferably from the farm. So we would like to do like, and obviously, because yeah, you can never be totally self-sufficient and not need any money. I mean, the reality is you do need money. I want to travel to my family in the Netherlands and things like that. So yeah, that definitely is something that we vision, just
Yeah.
an integrated farm where, yeah, based on permaculture or traditional principles, but also with some things we do more innovatively to, and I think there are a few um, things that we want to generate some income from, then besides just providing things for ourselves. And that is like, from the ghee from the animals, the tourism, and some like herbal products or fruit products like jams and things like that, honey. And yeah, the other part is to also work with to make products also from our farm, to sell stuff from our farm, and then to work with the community in that aspect, to um, in many different ways, actually, like by also being a kind of a learning like a learning platform, or where we interact with people, where we do workshops also for the local community, and also for volunteers and anyone, but also practically by making products together with the local community and
Sharing that space for processing,
yeah,
and then branding it in a
yeah,
smaller way, but
yeah.
then try to work more with the community.
Yeah, we never want to create
Right.
something really big, but we just want to keep it small and artisan. Like whatever we make, it's all really organic and local and handmade, and yeah, yeah,
In that way.
yeah.
Right. Wonderful. I think that's an incredible vision that you guys have, and how you also want to achieve it is like pretty clear in your mind, but I think it will only take time to get it into
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
3D reality. And I hope I get to become a tiny part of a vision and like help you in some parts in the future. So one more last question, some advice that you would like to give to somebody like maybe Marlies and Pawan, who are like 5, 6 years behind in the journey, like who are still dreaming of living this farm life and going to the mountains and having these animals. What advice would you give to those young people from your journey?
What would I give as an advice?
For me personally, what I believe is like if you really want something and really believe in something, then definitely you should go for it. For me, that's how I work. And steps will be just made for you if you are really believing in that. And the best way is to do via volunteering, and wherever you feel like, oh, this is something that I want to do, go to those kind of places, work there, do things, and then see that whether that thing is for you or not, or it's just an idea, or how much satisfaction and pleasure it gives to you, and how much practically possible it is for you. Talk to people and visit different farms. And best way to learn is through volunteering. That's how I have also learned.
Yeah, volunteering, and I think also, uh, I think maybe also at some point just starting or doing something, you learn everything along the way. And I think not thinking that it's going to be easy. It's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult and you're going to struggle a lot. But I think, uh, yeah, just taking it step by step, things will start happening if you really want it. And yeah, I also think so. Like in our journey, like where we are now, like it's 3 years ago. You couldn't imagine it.
We dreamt a lot of
You
things.
you dreamed it, but yeah.
Yeah, and then we just we didn't knew how finances will be done or how we will be able to do it, but somehow
Lots of things are totally different than we imagined.
Yeah.
Lots of things are very the same. Yeah. Yeah. So you can also not plan and prepare for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely it's a beautiful journey.
Yeah.
Gives lots of satisfaction and happiness.
Wonderful to hear that. And so, thank you so much for your time. And I think it's absolutely heartwarming to know your journey. And I really admire your curiosity and courage. And Pawan, your energy is infectious, and Marley's your ability to plan, visualize, and get things together is quite inspiring. So, thank you so much for that. And before we leave, where can somebody find you online? How can they connect to you? If you would like to mention your Insta, YouTube handles.
So we have a YouTube channel under the name Vanirah Farm. Yeah, Vanirah. My spelling is not so good, sorry. And yeah, and we have an Instagram page and a workaway page for volunteers if anyone is interested in volunteering.
Directly contact us.
Yeah. I try to upload regular YouTube videos, but it always ends up being quite many months apart. But and then I also try to post now and then something on Instagram. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for your time once again. It was lovely talking to you both.